Dolphins thirsty, they never show no mercy. On the field or in the game, Miami knows how to play. Dolphins thirsty, we all get down and dirty. Tell you what you wanna know, it's the Dolphins Show. Quench your thirst for all things Miami Dolphins. They are the football kings, cause they play to win. Come on in and have some fun, whether we have lost or we have won. For all things Miami, it's Dolphins thirsty.
Hello, Miami Dolphins fans. As you can see there, Chris Shula, perfect timing for Throwback Thursday, a name from the past related to the Dolphins. This is a grandson of the legendary coach Don Shula. So he, for reports, will be interviewing with the Miami Dolphins today. He's been a linebackers coach, pass rush coach, stuff like that for the Los Angeles Rams for the past several years. He is set to interview with the Miami Dolphins as a defensive coordinator. He's also reportedly will interview with the Rams for their DC spot there as well. So it's not just the name connected to the Dolphins past. There are other people that like his services. So it would be a very interesting to see. We will be very interested to see if indeed they are just, given the Shula name or courtesy interview, or are they really serious about bringing in Shula? He's the son of David Shula, of course, who's the son of Don Shula. So that's a little name from the past. Just happened to come in on Throwback Thursday. I just thought that was perfect timing. Good morning, Scotty, and good morning, Back It Up Ben's podcast. Happy to see you guys in here. Other teams are starting to make some hires. So it's going to be interesting to see how the cookie crumbles on the defensive coordinators out there. I'm okay with the Dolphins not rushing. People on social media are saying, it's okay to pick on the Dolphins. There's a lot of stuff to pick on the Dolphins for, but not rushing to hire a defensive coordinator is not one of them. I find it kind of funny that they're picking on the Dolphins, because if they would have rushed and just promoted like Anthony Campanelli, like within the day, they didn't do any due process. They didn't do their due diligence. Now that the Dolphins are kicking the tires on a whole bunch of people, they can't find a guy. No one wants the job. It's like you can't win sometimes. So I'm not worried about that aspect. Let's see. I like we're casting everybody that see who fits the best, but it also tells me no one we brought in really knocked our soft sauce. Otherwise, we wouldn't let them leave. Yes, this is probably true too, Scotty, if you look at it that way. And I don't believe, I do believe it'll probably be in-house. If no one of these outside candidates knocks them, they'll probably just go in-house unless someone comes in and knock their socks off. Don't buy the PR move to distract the fans from dysfunction of the Dolphins. Oh, Steve, Mr. Scotty's right. You're always negative, Steve. Come on, Steve. Even if it is still a good move, and we will see. It's still good to have it done. It's not like he had an interview. He's interviewing for the Rams DC job as well. So it's not like it's just a name that just has no merit to deserve an interview. So that's how I look at it. With a small window left in this one, makes more sense to need to interview DCs with experience under their belt. No, I agree. I agree with that. But we will see, because that list is, they got Staley still out there, I guess, and Weaver. The Ravens end up already promote. So, he wasn't there. So maybe everyone thought he was off the table once the Ravens DC position became available, but they already promoted whoever they promoted. So I don't know. I don't know what that says about Weaver or whatever, or they just had another guy that's really good. So DC jobs are starting to fill up. We will see what the Dolphins do. Should be a good run, though, here in the next few days. We should get. Let's see. I would prefer a DC with play calling experience. Well, then you're basically down to Staley I guess Weaver. I don't know what he did in his 1 year as defensive coordinator with Texans, but from what I hear, it wasn't the greatest. I still haven't been looked at their But the Texans were in the middle of a mess. They rebuilt quicker than we did because they've won a playoff game now. Granted, they're in a division that's a little easier to win, but they got a playoff win. And then, we will see. But that was in the middle of their little mess, changing coaches like every year. And then so he lost a job after 1 year as a DC there. But no, the Ravens are really stacked. And that's why, even though they lost in the AFC Championship, they are a really, really stacked team. So, Steve, you really think it's just a PR move, Steve? Well, I know how you roll. There, thank you. It's a beautiful morning. See, I'm positive. All right, Steve, there you go. But like I said, I don't mind the Shula thing, even if it is a PR move, even if it is, lighten up. It's good to sometimes get thoughts from outside the organization too, and it's why they're probably interviewing a lot of these people. Pick their brains and see what they would do and try to figure it out. But I agree with Scotty, none of them have knocked their socks off. Because if someone comes in, knock your socks off, you're not letting them leave. You're at least without an offer. If they go to another team, what can you do? That's against that's just against you. You can't do that. But if you really like someone and you've seen enough, you just say, dude, don't leave the building. Let's get this done. So we will see if that comes to fruition on the Shula front, or if indeed it's just a name like Steve says. I, for one, like it. It's good to see a little good news on this Throwback Thursday. Whether or not it's a PR move or not, I like it, Steve. I find this because Shula was a very big part of me growing up watching the Miami Dolphins. So just to see them even throw the guy a bone to help his name get in other circles, to me, that's a good thing. That's how I look at it. So I'm not mad at all about them bringing him in for that move at all in the least bit. I think Ferry makes sense from the outside. His knowledge around Allen to me is yeah, that's what I'm thinking. A lot of people aren't banging down his door. I don't know if it's just because of his age or whatever, but people aren't banging down his job for interviews. It seems like in this cycle, so he's a name that we can get if we want. So I got to look into why he left Buffalo. I haven't looked that up yet. To me, it's kind of weird. He just left Buffalo before the season last year. Was it internal problems? Because now all of a sudden he's willing to coach again and be back out there. Just kind of weird. The more I read and listen, the more you have to agree with Steve. This is always a mess. Hopefully, a playoff run masked the dysfunction. Oh no, the organizational is a mess overall for sure. But I'm just saying with Steve's Shula comment this morning, I'm fine with him coming in. Good morning, Shake Money. Thank you for coming into the house. Saw you on the Great Miss Finn show today, so thank you, Shake. Yeah, it seems to be changing of the guard regarding old school coaches. Yep, for sure, man. That's why we will see, though. Maybe Frazier's the guy all along, and that's who they really want, but they just want to make sure they do their due diligence, not dragging their feet, Steve. But anyway, it is what it is. It's a change. But the Dolphins are now hitting into their off season. Now all teams other than two teams are already preparing their off season, setting it up, and it should be interesting. Dolphins have a lot of work to do, and not as far as going getting people, but a lot of work to free up the money. Got to rework contracts. Chris Greer said he's not worried about it, but he also said he wasn't worried about the offensive line. But he said he's not worried about the cap, that they will get down to it. Scotty's our resident capologist that's in the house. He agrees that there are moves that the Dolphins can do to free up the money, but some of those moves involve kicking the can down the road a couple more times. A couple of them are involved taking a little bit of a dead cap hit, but moving away from big contracts and just ripping the band-aid off like Xavier post June 1st. It would have to be. So there are some things like that. Old school every day of the week for me. Yes, Mr. Back It Up Ben's podcast, my fellow, one of the rare baseball fans out there. So that is good to know. And back it up in podcast, I am going to be doing a baseball show at times, just as a guest host, it seems like, on a show on the Finns Talk Sports Network. So I'll let you know more when I know more. But they reached out to me yesterday. So I'm going to be doing some baseball talk, helps pass the time. So that won't market to everyone, but I know Back It Up Ben's podcast, you like your baseball as well. And you're welcome to join that show anytime. Let's see. Shake Money, what's your thoughts this morning? I know Hard Knocks was the discussion on Miss Finns today. Good stuff. To me, I'm almost just like indifferent. I don't know. I wasn't for it when they did it. I don't know if it really hurt them. I just think because they're going to tell me they would have gone on and got to the Super Bowl if they didn't have Hard Knocks. And I have a hard time to believe that. But did it help? Heck no, no way did it help. And so if it doesn't help, it hurts. But and so I guess you could take that philosophy. But it's not the reason we didn't advance in the playoffs. Because if that's the reason we didn't advance in the playoffs, then we're just too easily distracted. That's how I look at it. X is my hardest business decision. Moving to Leon makes sense, but he creates 42 million in dead cap for two players in one position over 2 years. Yeah, that's a hard conversion for Greer to have conversation. Yeah, well, Greer, he needs to draft better. When you draft better, it's easier to overcome mistakes at other positions because the money's cheaper. And that's always my philosophy. And yes, I know you can build a winner from all sides of the avenue. You can do it via trades. You can do it via free agency. End of the day, look at some of these teams that are in the, you know, Super Bowl. They drafted very well. So it just is what it is. Hey, Raphael, good morning. G Man, good morning. Big fins up to you. Now I got Steve and G Man in here. I know this is going to be a positive show. But it is what it is. Good morning, G Man. Always a pleasure to have you in here. Hey, I'm realistic and I know, but I still try to put a positive. If I don't put any positive on it, why be a fan? You have to get some enjoyment out of rooting for this team. And on Throwback Thursday, I'm wearing the appropriate hat. Chris Shula, a name from the past, the Shula name, of course, not the Chris part of it, but the Shula name, interviewing for a spot today on Throwback Thursday. I just think it's kind of cool. There's some stuff going on, and it's going to be very interesting moving forward. Who are DC? That's the next move we have to announce. Then it's going to be like once the league year, who all these salaries, who's getting reworked, who's getting cut outright, and all of that. There's going to be a lot of dead cap money, though. Scotty is right on that. It's tough, but that's what happens when you overpay some guys. I know there's no such thing as overpaying the NFL because these guys all are stars, but you get big contracts, and it just is what it is. So we're just kind of tough. Some mayo. Man, who was it that put mayonnaise? Oh, is that the who was it? I saw someone that they said they put mayonnaise. Who was it? I forget. I know that was going around. But I forget who was it. Was it Brock Purdy or something? I forget who it was, but someone put mayonnaise in their coffee. Let's see. Steve. I'm not a fan anymore until something happens. One, Ross sells the team. Greer is gone. The real Dolphins logo is back. Yeah, I would agree. It's better than I like them. Not that it makes a difference whether you win or lose, but yes, the old logo is definitely better. Ross isn't going anywhere unless unfortunately, if he passes away, which we don't wish upon anyone, and then his daughter takes over, then we'll see if she decides to sell the team at that point, knowing that she could get billions of dollars and not have to do anything. So we will see, because that's what happened to the Robbies once Joe Robbie passed away. The offspring sold the team to Wayne Huizinga, who in turn has sold to Ross. So it's going to be interesting to see moving forward. But he's not going anywhere. I don't think he's just going to outright sell the team, even though he's selling a portion of it. But that guy's not going to have any decision making. Let's see. Those three things need to happen. I know it makes sense to me. I am definitely on with you with I don't get too much into the owner because no one's going to fire the owner. So, but with Greer, I'm with you 100%. I don't think he's done the job well enough. He's had some fines, but he hasn't had that. I don't think he's drafted elite players that change the franchise around. Waddle's great, and we got guys like that. Jalen Phillips was emerging. Unfortunately, he got hurt, and well, I was obviously you can't compare getting a French. I just want a guy that has that, But with Greer, I probably wouldn't trust him to do it. Is the thing. But like Kansas City was already a good team, and they moved up to 10, giving up a future first round pick because they eyed a guy that not all some people eyed as the top quarter, but they eyed a guy that they wanted, and they went up and they got him. Buffalo eyed Josh Allen, they went and got him. So sometimes you just have to have that oomph and hit and those type things. Or in our case, Tua just fell to 5. But you just have to. To me, it's just like sometimes I don't know. And then the one time that we really made a big trade up, and this is going back to Jeff Ireland, and we moved all the way up to like pick 2 or 3. And I thought for sure we were going to take because it's a very weak draft. So I'm not going to pick that the Dolphins had a poor draft that year. It was a very weak draft overall. They traded up, but instead of going for Lane, who I thought they were going to take, who's been a very good player for the Eagles all these years, they went for one of our biggest draft busts. No reason to talk about it, but it is what it is. But it's just like so. Sometimes I understand those moves backfire. Trading back could be an option, but Dolphins really need some good quality people. I don't want to fall back too, but I will. I would not mind the Dolphins trading back in the draft a little bit, just because we have first and second, but then you got to go all the third, all of the fourth before we're even on the clock again. That's a big gap in this talented draft. This is a deeper class, and it'd be nice to have some picks in that wheelhouse of third and fourth rounds where the Dolphins tend to sometimes hit on some of their picks. Achan came from those round, and stuff like that. So I would like to see somehow Miami get a third or a fourth. It doesn't even resemble the real. No, it hasn't for years, man. When you haven't won a playoff game since December 30th, 2000, all you guys are going to know that date in your head by the time you're done watching my shows. But it's horrible. Different coaches, different general managers, many different quarterbacks, same result, no playoff wins. Have they given us some winning seasons the past couple of years as far as the regular season and giving us some positive moments to be a fan? Yes, but end result is still no playoff wins. It's really down there, man. A couple of years ago, Cleveland won one and got off of that list. Buffalo has gotten off that list. Now Detroit this year went and got off that list. And we're like really out there alone in the world for 2 decades of no playoff wins as a Miami Dolphin fan. So let's see. My coffee brewing and the mayo is cold. Silly. I agree. A trade back makes sense. This depends, though, like you say, Scotty. You know how that draft board falls. If they just got someone that they love that falls to them there, and it's at a position that's already had a run or they're they don't think they're going to be around, then pounce on the guy. But they really need to fill some filler in there, man, because it's way too long to go without a pick. It's I know the league nailed us. I mean, this year, I just would have rather them ripped off the band-aid taking all our stuff from last year and let us have our picks this year. But no, because we don't have a fourth. I think it was for the Chubb trade, whoever, one of the players. I think it's Chubb. I said Ramsey the other day, but I think it was actually Chubb final consequence. It sucks, knowing that Chubb's not here because of injury and won't be able to start the season. And then you still have a huge cap hit with him coming up, and he's not playing, and you don't even have a fourth round pick because of that trade. It's like, ouch, man. Hey, Michael K. No, never. It's always late, man. It's always okay to be late. Just don't miss totally. That's all I care. So yeah, my hat's fitting tight. I got my hair cut yesterday, so it's like fitting tighter though today. I think it'd be the other way around. Sorry, I am late. This happens sometimes when you got a playoff win. Ah ha ha. But Michael K, you've been eliminated as well. You got your one playoff win, like you always tend to do, and then kind of fade away. But you're right. I do wish my team had had a playoff win at least. But you guys have to be worrying about the next step now. Where we're just worrying about getting the playoff win. It seems like you guys would be saying, "Oh, this isn't enough. We got to get to at least the AFC Championship game more often, and at least win an AFC Championship game." But now you guys are getting to that stage, so we'll see. You don't have to try as a Dolphin. I already know about the dysfunction. I was a fan for 40 years. I've seen it all. We're beating a dead horse. It's okay to late. Haha, Mr. Prig, Mr. Ralphie. You guys are silly. But yes, the Miami Dolphins have been a hot mess. But this isn't going to be another year that they're going to be all in. That's what they're going to sell us in on because they're going to Tua. So he's still our quarterback on the 5th-year option. We'll see if they rework him. And they're going to try to kick this money down the road on some of these big contracts. So they're going to still be on the all in. And it's going to be interesting to see how it goes because I just think things are going to do what they always do in Miami Dolphin land. If we get to this at the end of this season and we do not win a playoff game, I see big changes coming. If we go through 2024 and if we don't make the playoffs for sure, changes are coming. And if you make the playoffs and one and done again, I still think you might see changes because we're getting that 3-year itch that we always seem to get at the coaching position. I, for one, like McDaniel. I want him here long term. I've been predicting he's going to finally be our long term coach, but we do have people up above that like to make moves if things don't get done. To be lefty baby. Oh, believe me too, man. Perfect day. It's throwback for Thursday. I missed Shula and the Marx brothers and Dan Marino tossing the ball to them. And the Killer Bee defense, him in some good memories. Him and David Woodley and Don Strock gave us some good memories. It's been way too long since the Dolphins have been in the Super Bowl, man. It's way too long. It's been 50 years, since we last won the Super Bowl. And then the last time we were in the Super Bowl, I was a teenager and I'm no longer a teenager. So it's been a long, 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 long time. Heck, my sons are almost done being teenagers. So it's just been way too long since the Dolphins have done anything. I missed the continual excellent in the Sula. We used to be a model franchise. Ross trashed it all. Oh, I know. Dan Marino was a one. Now the Chiefs are having their once in a lifetime quarterback, and he's getting those wins. He eluded our Dan, but Dan was been the best passer I've seen. Man, it was so much fun watching Dan. In result, we didn't win a Super Bowl, but yes, you are right. He's a once in a generational type talent and one that that's why I think quarterbacks get hard judged by some of us fans because we all comparing him to Dan Marino, and no one's ever going to be on that level as Dan Marino. Again, it seems like in the Dolphin uniform. It is what it is, and it's been a pain. And guys, if you like the Dolphins, or even if you don't, in G-Man case, hit that like button. It helps my channel, and it's free to all you great subscribers and whatever you want to call it. I call it teammates, subscribers, followers, whatever term they like to use around the social media circles. You guys are really just all teammates. You make talking about football fun. Marino is the reason why. You're not alone, Mr. Courtwright. You are not alone. There's a lot of people that tell me that Dan Marino made them a Miami Dolphins fan. I predate Dan Marino, but he still is a great memory of all mine. Like I said, I was rooting for the Dolphins during the Woodstock area and all that, prior to Dan Marino lacing them up for the Miami Dolphins. But he is definitely a name of a person that if you go around the nation and people that never even lived in South Florida, but they became big Dolphin fans, it's because of Dan Marino. So he did help build the franchise. Unfortunately, since then we've had some issues. Well, that's fine. If you want to say because of Super Bowl, if you want to say Super Bowl rings, yes, okay, Greasy has that on Marino, but just for total quarterback play, Marino is 1,000 times better in my book. But if you want to debate it on Super Bowl, and that's fine, and I understand if it's all about rings to you, then yes, then Greasy is the quarterback. But as far as just passing the football and being a beast at passing the football, that talent, it's definitely Marino. But I understand. Basically, that's the game that hooked me into the Dolphins. I mean, I grew up down here, G-Man, but that is the game that did hook me in. That's like the first game I ever felt really invested as a fan, where it really hurt, and I was like living on the edge of the whole game. And that's the first time. That's the game I always circle when people say, "What's your really first memory?" That's the one time I watched game before that, but that's the game that I was just like, "Oh yes, oh no!" But when we down like 24-0, and then we come back, I'm like, "Oh yes," but then we ultimately lose. But that game is the game that I will always remember as the first game that I really felt like a Dolphin fan that was rooting hard and not just a guy saying, "Oh, all right, the game's on the TV, whatever." But that game was like rocked my emotions. So, yeah. Wow, Greasy Shula. So you predate me. Well, I was on the planet, like I said, but I was like 3 and 4 years old when they won their Super Bowl, so way too young to remember. So when my memories kicked in, is really that those early '80s, like when I became like 10 and 11 years old, and that's when I really start remembering, not just saying, "Oh, I would get." I could show you photos of me wearing like a greasy shirt when I was a kid that my parents had got me and stuff. So that I remember, but I don't remember the games actually. I don't really remember the famous Thanksgiving game where Bob Greasy threw all the touchdown passes. I really start this a few years after that where I start remembering. Yeah, the last playoff game for Marino, that was a heartbreaker. Marino's last game ever, as it turned out, and that sucked. He had to go out there that way. You got yourself years. What you've got for yourself at your investment run. If the Dolphin has talked, then it's time to sell. I understand, Scott. I understand the frustration. I just know this is part of. I will always just root for him. It's hard for me to turn it off. I guess it's like my addiction. Everyone has some kind of addiction. Mine's the Boston Red Sox in baseball and the Miami Dolphins in football. And outside of that, that's why I don't know how all you guys watch them in more sports than that. I can't. I don't have the energy for all that rooting, and it's just how I roll. Especially baseball, because baseball is already a long season of all the games, almost every single night. So it's like that's a lot of commitment. So sorry guys, I'm producing, and remember, guys, if I'm not looking in the camera, it's only because I have to look down or I can't see what you guys are saying in the comments. I need a better system. I need some kind of fancy system because I got to look down to see what my great teammates are saying here. Now, I don't watch boxing. I don't watch golf. I don't, and I'm mad at golf right now because the Boston Red Sox ownership group spent lots of money on investing into the PGA, but they don't want to put any money in my damn Red Sox. But that's for a whole other story. That's for my upcoming baseball show. No, Greasy, Cliff D. Thank you, by the way. I forgot to say, hey, Cliff D. Thank you for coming in here today. You're right. Greasy did win Super Bowls. I'm not gonna argue among two great Dolphins of the past. They are both great Hall of Famers that played for our Miami Dolphins. But as far as I got to see, Marino was the best because I saw kind of towards the tail end of Greasy's career. He was no longer the Greasy that had won those Super Bowls. I got to see Dan. I was happy the minute Dan Marino got drafted by the Miami Dolphins. It was a Tuesday in 1983 in April, and the Dolphins drafted him, and it was awesome. And I was so happy because I couldn't believe he had fallen to the Dolphins. People weren't even talking about quarterback to the Dolphins, so they were surprised. But I guess they just saw Marino fall. They're like, man, we can't pass that up. Because we just remember coming off, we had just come out of the Super Bowl the year we drafted Dan Marino. We had just come out of the Super Bowl and a loss against the then Redskins. I'm allowed to say it because that's a team that they were named Washington, if you want to be politically correct. Um, we had just come off the loss to them, the game where John Riggins ran over Don McNeil. I still remember that day. It stinks. Or Kimbo Camper. So close, but yet so far from having an interception that Theismann ended up knocking away. So, yes, I told you it was Throwback Thursday. So, I am doing some Throwback Thursdaying. I don't think that's a term, but I just made it one. But the bottom line is, it's been way too long, guys. Yeah, I would love for them. That's where that would be the PR move, Steve. If you're still in here, that would be the PR move to go back to one of the older logos. And if they really want to keep this as the throwback, go back to the logo that like the Dan Marino era logo, and then or make that then the throwback logo or something, But they're not going to. Ross is set on that. I don't see it. I would love it though. Yes, it's a PR move. Has nothing to do with win loss. But man, give me a bone as a Dolphin fan. Give me a bone, because you sure as hell ain't winning playoff games. So give me a bone and give me the uniform I like to look at least. Give me something. That's a good question, Timothy. I don't even know who on the Dolphins is even tradable for right now that, because that teams would be willing. I think that's why Waddle's name got mentioned all around. I don't want him to be, but he's young. He's still on a cheap contract. So some team may be willing to give you a high draft pick for him, but then you're robbing Peter to pay Paul. So, it's ridiculous, and then you have to draft right if you do get a number one for Waddle. So to me, you keep Waddle because you basically still have him for a couple years because he's going to be going into his fourth year. You can nail him with the fifth year option. So you have him for 5 years and then go from there. I'm definitely keeping Waddle. But you can't because people say Tyreek Hill, but if you go look, no, you're not going to trade him. You have too much dead cap money. Go look at don't take my word for it. Look at overthetap.com and then like do trades. There's a column at the end where if you do pre-June, post-June, but there's also on that pull down list is what happens if you trade them after those dates as well. And you will see we're not trading Tyreek Hill. It'd be a big no quick. Hey, yeah, I know. That's it. We don't really. The only one maybe is if you free up enough money and throw a franchise tag on Kristen Wilkins and then try to find a team willing to trade for him. But I don't know. I don't know really what we have because you're not going to get rid of Waddle. And if Jalen Phillips hadn't got hurt, he's tradable. But do you really want to trade an edge rusher going into his prime? No. And so really, I just don't even see who. And no one's going to trade for Teron Armstead at his cost. And again, I haven't even looked at what it would be take a salary cap hit on his. But who's going to give you much of anything? At most, they're going to give you a late round pick, conditional pick for a guy that gets hurt, and with the money he would take. So it's just we're kind of in a bad situation. Yeah. Well, the X one's a little less, or pretty much less, if you cut him after June 1st, Raphael, right? T. Hill's a mess all the way around, and then they may even rework his contract again this off season to free up some money, kick that can, the proverbial can down the road in an effort to win this year. Like I say, it's going to be very interesting. There's some guys that they can cut right away and they will be gone. And that's, you can basically, and that's it. And there is no more. So let me see on the Dolphins. There are some guys that we can cut. I'm looking at their right now. Oh man. So there are some people you can cut, but like I said, remember when you cut, you still got to fill these guys' spots. So you got to do it wisely, very wisely, and that's where because as of today, just as of today, pour over the cap, we are 50, almost 50. So say 52 billion left. I mean, over basically 52 million over. I'm gonna go to certain players and see if there's anyone that we can agree on that can be cut. I know there's a couple that we can agree on. Who was it? Oh yeah, the Keon Crossen. He's gonna be gone. You can cut him and save. You can basically save almost $3 million, a few dollars under $3 million, if you cut Crossen. And there's some other players like that. Yep, there you go. Oh yes, and definitely White. And so there are. Hey, Ender, cut talking about Crossen is yes. You would have to reach and trust your Tyreek Crown that Hill won't do that unless Ross does it where he. Oh, Tyreek Hill's already done it once, so he will do it if I mean because he's going to get his money and they're just get it how they write it out as guaranteed and bonus. Then you can spread that out over a couple years as hits to the cap is how they works basically from what I was understanding. So he would take it if it's done right. He's going to get his money. It's just going to be spread differently over the cap, and that's why they do it. Yeah, you can cut X June post June 1st, which will free up, I guess, money. It's not going to be like you're not going to be able to go on a big free agency money spend with the money from X, but it will free it up for the draft class. So that's probably what they do because he's already said he's not going to take a pay cut. So they're not going, hey, X, can you take a so they're going to have to rework it where he still gets money and you kick it. But at his point, at his age now, you're just going to have to probably move on from him if they decide to go that route, unless they can somehow keep him and free up money in spots that we don't see them freeing it up right now. There are different ways. We have such a talent watching and fancy. Why is everyone afraid of Tyreek Hill or Waddle for draft capital? Well, Tyreek can't be, but I get your point. People on people on social media, man, they would say it's raining outside when it's 100 degrees and the sun is bearing down. So people on social media say all kinds of silly stuff to get impressions. But yeah, the Waddle one going around, I think it's just all got started because people are saying, who do the Dolphins have that they could get something back for? And Waddle's name popped up. So it kind of got kicked around for that because we don't have that many assets that a team will give us actually a high draft pick for. So it is what it is. Yes, I can read your comment. Let me see. I must have missed it. You're welcome. Who needs to step up more? Easy E, Cam Smith, Brendan Pillard. I'm almost giving up on Channing Tyndall to be the truthful. I mean, I don't know. I thought this would be the year he'd be better. Now, who knows? But I've almost given up. Cam Smith definitely needs to step up and play well. And Brandon Pitley would be great if he can, but this was an undrafted guy, so is there a lot of pressure on him? No. I mean, they gave him a pretty good signing bonus, but Cam Smith on that list to me is the one that most has to step up for sure. Add in Cameron Good. The way Greer graphs, we're better off with it. Yes, but that's the problem, man. That's the problem. And Greer has hit. I don't want to be a dump on Greer. I mean, that's the guy I pick on the most in Dolphin land, in Dolphin world. He's the one I feel comfortable picking on because he's been listed, not as necessarily totally in charge, but he's been listed as the general manager since 2016, but basically start having say in 2019 in the final say. So that's what I will go by. And he's had some okay hits. I mean, Christian Wilkins was a good pick, but now he might be gone without signing a second contract. And then, he's had some money. Holland's been okay. we've had some good guys. We just haven't had the franchise turning around guy. Because you know, if that's how you're going to be the judge, yeah, we definitely have not had that franchise changing dynamic come in. He's made some good trades. He traded for Tyreek, but the problem is when you trade for these players and sign them, they get the bag of money right in, and that window just really becomes small. That's why all these quarterbacks try to go all in when they have a what they know is going to be a future franchise quarterback on that rookie contract. That's when you build your winner and you build around them because eventually you got to pay that quarterback. But look, the Chiefs are playing Kansas City, and lo and behold, they were in their sixth straight AFC Championship game, and now they're in the back-to-back Super Bowls. So I mean, once you pay your quarterback, but of course he's like elite of elite. But you can still win. He proves him and getting the big money. And look, lo and behold, they traded Tyreek Hill to us. You think they're missing Tyreek Hill? They're in back-to-back Super Bowls without Tyreek Hill. So as much as we love that trade, and as much as I'm not going to say Tyreek Hill has not helped this organization. For one thing, he definitely helped sell seats for the ownership. And for secondly, he did help Tua put up some good numbers. And and that's not a knock on Tua. Mark Duper and Mark Clayton helped put Marino up good numbers. That's not a knock on Tua, but he did help Tua along the way. Waddle's helped Tua. So there are some players, but it's just overall, it's just tough, man. Can't cut. No, I know that's the thing. That's why to me, it's like Cam Smith is the most definite guy that has to step up. I know that everyone wanted to bring back up his dirty laundry and about how he's not great work ethic. This was all addressed back last year. Chris Greer even addressed that issue about his work ethic. He goes, "Yeah, there was things, but he's matured and blah blah blah." So we drafted him, and now reports that he doesn't have old reports came out. So many new reports this year that he wasn't working, that he was partying and all that, and that's newsworthy. But old news circulated on Twitter, just bashing him just because people like to bash on Twitter. That's what Twitter folk do. So it's because it gets more impressions. And the highest paid and yet leaves shows it. Well, yes, there is definitely dysfunction. I don't think anyone can say there's not dysfunction. I can name a million things that's happened over the past couple of decades that was support your theory of the dysfunction of the Miami Dolphins. And one of that dysfunction was hiring him in the first place when he obviously didn't want to be here. That's why he egged us on last year. Like, oh, he is going to be here. He's not going to be here. He is going to be, not going to be. Took forever for him to nail it down last year with him. And he always had an eye on Philadelphia last year. So that's more on us for not doing like the Back It Up Ben's podcast says, not doing better homework, realizing this guy doesn't really want to be here. So that falls on that more. Still blames the Dolphins. I still blame the Dolphins for hiring him in the first place. But let's face it, he wanted out of here before he even signed because they were asking him in the training camp to start this season. And he said, "Yeah, I probably would have been in Philadelphia if it would have worked out differently, but I'm here and I'm going to do my job." So obviously, he had eyes on Philadelphia from the get-go. Gave time I knew away for peanuts. Yep. Hey, Tannehill. Yeah, because we had given him the big money. We had given him. I think that's why the Dolphins are a little scared and giving two of the big money because they had already given Tannehill that big contract. Then when everything worked out, and because he was, Philbin had him, then Gase had him, and we hadn't won a playoff game, so they're like, "Oh, Tannehill's not the guy. We don't want to put him on another coach because Flores probably made it clear he wanted his own guys or whatever." So they dump him for what, a fourth or fifth round draft pick, whatever, to Tennessee to free up that salary cap space. And then, it is what it is. Tennessee ended up winning a playoff game because they had Henry and all that. But I don't care about that because Tannehill's not on the team anymore. But yes, really, would we be any worse off with Tannehill still being here as opposed to Tua? That would be a question we will never know. This one that we can talk about. Would he be the same? Would he be winning playoff games with him? Or you be one and done with him? Or we do not even make the playoffs with him? That we don't know. because he had definitely was helped in Tennessee by Henry having some monster years there, and they basically ran Henry into those playoff games. So that's Tua definitely has weapons. There is no doubt about that. He got Waddle and he has Hill. That's there, and then he has A. Chan and all those guys in the backfield. Mozart, who broke the Dolphins' single season touchdown record. So he has plenty of weapons at his disposal. I do think they need a better third receiver. Be interesting moving forward how they go about filling that. If you draft him, I mean, look at the Rams, man. I won't try butcher his name. You guys all know who I'm talking about. The Rams have that good receiver out there that they drafted. So you can find guys that are studs and can be good receivers. I mean, they also have McVay as a coach who probably does a lot to help their guys. But, it is what it is. Yeah, Nuku. See, I can't even say it when I read it. But you know who, Nukua, whatever, Nuka, whatever. But you know who I'm talking about. He had a great record-breaking rookie year. And so you can find guys like that can contribute, man. If you had him on the Dolphins had nailed him in as a pick, and you had him to match with Tyreek and Waddle, then that would have been a deadly combination. But Courtney will be on Monday nights, and she sometimes gets on other nights here too. But on the morning, she's working her morning hours, so she can't join us. But thank you for bringing her up, Cliff D. I know she was on a show last night talking about the Miami Heat on the Fins Talk Sports Network. She talks Heat over there, Miami Dolphins here, so you can always find her somewhere. Hey, be nice though, G-Man. Don't call him one name, but yeah, Easy E, I've given up on him. There's a whole bunch of guys I've given up on, man, because if you're not here at this point, you know, contributing at some point, you just got to realize. But he showed a lot of promise. I will say that at that point. And let's see where he. Oh well, I don't know. All I do know is that there's a lots of. So Tua needs more. I don't think he needs more weapons. Maybe more offensive line help, a little more consistent. Give him a little more time. But I don't know. There's no answer. Believe us, none of us know the answer because the Dolphins only know the answer. We may all think we know, but we don't know. But I do believe that Greer is a common denominator. He's been with the franchise since 2000. Yes, a lot of those years he was a regional scout working his way up to eventually be in the front office of the Miami Dolphins. But when he's been with the organization since 2000. So he came the very first year that we won our last playoff game. He was part of the organization. And then since then, nada, zilp, zero, zilch, whatever. I probably screwed up, but you know what I mean. It's just nothing. Shut out of playoff his whole tenure here, other than his very first year. And nothing against him, man. I just think it's time to move on from him, man. You need outside the box thinking, someone new to come in. But I don't know. With Ross being here, I don't know what to expect. He likes Greer for whatever reason. Like I said, he's been in the GM role since 2016. But Tannenbaum, I know it's Tannenbaum, but Tannenbaum was here over him, so I don't hold that accountable for him and up until 2019. But it is what it is. Oh man. Zach and Brady showed promise like Cameron Tyndall type of player, work in progress. Well, Tyndall is the longest work in progress in history, then, man, because he's going to be. But I know he's going to be going on his third defensive coordinator this year. So I mean, I understand for some of these guys, every time they think they're going to be getting something, then lo and behold, we got another defensive coordinator. It appears McDaniel goes through defensive coordinators like Flores used to go through offensive coordinators. So, we bring in an offensive guy and we go through a whole bunch of defensive guys. We had a defensive guy and he went through a whole bunch of offensive guys. It's a never ending story in Miami Dolphin land. And I 100% understand all the frustration. but I also understand the fans that want to be optimists and look forward to maybe the positives of the Miami Dolphins. I'm 100% on board with some positivity. G-Man, why? Oh, everyone. No, okay, guys, don't go picking on each other. As Miss Finn says, keep it nice. I'm not a middle school principal here, guys. Keep it nice. We can disagree. Steve, what's your line? We may disagree at times, but the one thing we always agree on, we want the Dolphins to win. So keep it nice in the room. There's no reason because all of you guys, I like every one of you. If I've been appeared on my show before, you guys are great, but there's no reason to trash talk each other, guys. We're all wanting the same thing. We all want the Dolphins to win. All right, let's stick Steve on. That's the problem, Scotty. You nailed it. Thank you, Miss Fins, and you had a great show today as well. I just had to give one of your little lectures to tell people to keep it nice. So thank you, Miss Fins, for dropping in. So let's see. Yes, Scotty, you are 100% right. You are on point. We changed off at one point. We went like 10 years and had 11, not 10, but 11 offensive line coaches because Flores got rid of one of them right in the middle of the training camp of the first year. So we had 11 at one point. Now Butch Berry hopefully will end that cycle, and Butch Berry hopefully is here for a little bit. At least this year, it looks like he would be here. So we would break that trend. At least we're going to keep an offensive line coach for 2 straight years. Let's see. Anyone saying anything here? So for one, like I said, I, for one, kind of think it's cool that they're bringing in the Shula name back into the house. Steve says it's just for PR. That's fine because I need a little good PR in Dolphin world right now, and I need it. I need that bone. Just give me something so we don't have to hear about. At least I'm almost happy. As petty as it sounds, I'm almost happy that all these stories are breaking out on the Jets, so we're not the only team that's some dysfunctional mess. Misery loves company. So thank you, Jets, for having some misery along with our Miami Dolphins misery. Gotta love to see it. They're now coaches are calling coaches out, and gotta love to see it. No, yeah, you can't win. You can't do that, man. You can't do including the interns. Yes, you can't do that, man. It's not a good way to build a franchise. It's hard. Well, Chris Greer, he seems to like though. I mean, he's been labeled as GM since 2016. So, but like I say, I will give him 2019 when he's on the record because supposedly Tannenbaum was picking the guys prior to that. So, no, there's 100%. Listen, Ross, like I say, Ross is willing to spend money, but he spends it in the wrong spots and getting the wrong people to make his decisions. Because you look at these organizations, like the 49ers haven't won a Super Bowl the past couple, but now they're back in it. They were just in it not that long ago against the same Kansas City team. They were just in the NFC Championship game. So you got to look at these organizations and say, what are they doing to always have a consistent winner? And Kansas City is easy to look at and say why because they got probably the best quarterback going in the game. Not probably, they have the best quarterback by far. So it's easy to point to them and say, oh, it's easy to win. But, they just happen to have the greatest playing right now. So it is what it is. But for the 49ers, they've gone through different quarterbacks, but yet they still win. I don't get it. We are just rebuilding for the past 2 decades. It's just frustrating as a Dolphin fan. So when I see little news like Shula's in the house, that makes me happy for a minute. What can I say? It's okay. Isn't that the reason we want a fan is to have some happiness, not to be misery all of the freaking time. So I'm happy to see some happiness among Dolphin fans. Big D has coached 2 winning seasons and still have a lot of growth. I like Nick D. I know that's a buffer, and I don't care if people like him or don't like him. That's what makes fandom great. I happen to be on the McDaniel bandwagon. I say let him ride, let him improve some of the things. And if he doesn't improve, then it's say la vie. What will be, will be. It's just unfortunate part of being a Dolphin fan. No, I know, guys. I understand. That's why I'm just telling all of you. I'm not calling out anyone. I'm not taking any sides. All of you guys, I like. I like all of you guys. You guys are part of the team. I don't look at you as subscribers. You guys are teammates of Dolphin Thirsty, but there's just no reason for name calling. That's all I say. Because we all want the Dolphins to win. We're all frustrated that they're not winning. I understand it, but there's no reason for the name calling. That's all I say. I keep it simple. I keep it simple, 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 because you guys all rock. I think McDaniel has shown development. I'm excited to see what he can do in year 3. There you go, Scotty. That's why I like Scotty, because he would bring some positive. But like I say, I don't mind the negative either when it's true negative, and it's how it is. The function starts at the top. Ross is a buffoon who tried to hire Harbaugh. Ross Barano was still the coach. Ross is the one who tampered with Brady. Yes, Mike Sterner, by the way. Thank you, and welcome to the room, Mike Sterner. And now that thumbs up. But yes, you're right. I have a good article right now on, if I do say so myself, it's on dolphinthirsty.com, and it talks from the last playoff run and gives you a history of so many missteps that they took along the way. And that was brought up on how they interviewed Harbaugh while still having a coach. Then that not only caused fraction there, but then also because Jeff Ireland snuck away with Ross to interview Harbaugh, and then that separated Ireland and Sperano. So it's just a whole horrid mess of where Dolphins have gone wrong over the years. So Ross has a lot of blame to go around. But where he's good at is that he's willing to rewrite more guaranteed upfront money to kick money down the road, knowing that he still has to pay it for a player that may very well not even be on the team. He's willing to do that. And, at least that's good on that part. But he's done things horribly as far as other things gone. Like you say, even as petty as the logo change, I wish it wasn't the logo change. It's just, I would have been fine with the cartoonist looking logo that Jimmy Johnson brought in, So I would have been fine with that. That's fine with me. So, but hey, those are little things. We may not all agree with him, Dolphin, but one thing we can all agree. There we go. That's the line I was looking for. We may not all agree everything Dolphins, but one thing we can agree on, we are all Dolph fans. Well said, Steve. Thank you. That's what the term I was looking for. Ooh. Kathleen Ireland. It's funny. I was thinking about Kathleen Ireland the other day. So, because I wasn't. They were talking about where are they now, and her name came up on the radio. They people that just like you don't really hear about anymore. Her name was one of them. So it's funny. Again, Mark. I have no doubt Ross wants to do the right thing, but Ralph was on the Bills. He just didn't want the mindset of his advanced age. I know, but Ross seems around. He's running one of the largest development companies in the world. So you think he still has to have some, but he probably hires right there. He probably hires the right guys there, and it's a different business. And so that business continues to thrive. And as far as the business here, he's thriving here. They had great ticket sales this year. People are still watching, and it's the NFL at an all-time rate. These ratings are great. So from a business standpoint, he's probably like, oh, well, I'm making money. But I do believe he tries, but it's just, who knows, man? Who knows? There were rumors that he wanted to take Lamar Jackson. So how wrong is he if that rumor's true, that he wanted to take Lamar Jackson, but Greer told him no, and the front office people said no. So, I don't really believe that story, but it has made its rounds out there in Dolphin land. It's pretty sad if your 80-something-year-old owner spots a talent of Lamar Jackson in your front office, says, he's not good enough. No. So that's pretty sad. So I don't even know if those rumors are true, but it's just, they've made it out there in Dolphin land for so long. I just wanted to bring that fact up. Dolphins should have stayed off the Orange Ball Arena where they had their best. Hey, the Orange Bowl. Yeah. I mean, that's why the Orange Bowl was in my um thumbnail, they call it here on YouTube today. I want to move to Florida to get close to my team, but I don't know. Help me. Hey, you just be closer to the frustration, Ralph. You just be closer to the frustration. Big O was hiding yesterday. Big O had you hiding yesterday. All right, guys, keep it nice. Let's see. We know what I mean, though. He tries, but I know Cliff, we only really care about the Dolphins. But if you look at it around, there's a lot of organizations that are in the same boat we are. Have owners that try that don't get it done. So, and then there's some owners that don't even care. Probably they just want to care about making the money or whatever. But to me, it seems like he goes about it. He makes changes but he just never made the right one. So that's all I'm saying, Cliff D. At least because right now my Red Sox owners aren't even trying to build a winning team. But with that said, they have brought 4 world championships to the Red Sox, so I can't take on them too much. I'm going to move to Florida to get closer. Man, you guys all have some good comments when you guys aren't fighting with each other. It's all good. I love it. But I did see. Yes, Cliff D. Ross can't spend money to say salary cap, and his agents have all been cheap. But he did try to not make them. But that's where I was saying, like he did because he tried to go get hardball in an admittedly stupid fashion, underhanded fashion, horrible fashion. But he did try to go get hardball. He even tried to get Jeff Fisher, which was no big loss, but he tried, which was a big name at the time before Jeff Fisher picked the Rams over the Dolphins. So he has tried. That's where I would use the word try. But I tried to have as much money as Elon Musk, and what good did that get me? I don't have as much money as Elon Musk, so I understand you're laughing at try. But I'm just saying, at least he gave it a shot, and it hasn't worked out, and there's been failures along the way. But listen, he had a guy come say, "Hey, let's sign in Dominic Sue and giving Dominic Sue a record-breaking contract." He said, "Where do I sign?" So he does stuff like that. He's willing to go whatever move it takes to give up those big money contracts to try to help the team win. But more often than not, and almost always, has not worked out because we haven't won a playoff game under his ownership. So I'm with you, Cliff D, but I just don't want to totally badge on him if at least given what he has attempted to do and tried, whether he went about wrong or not. Let's see what Mark said. I think McDaniel needs a more balanced attack, diversity with Dolphins personnel, makes it less hill centric, better use of play clock, better challenges and manage. Yes, those are all well said. Where McDaniel, and I thought he was getting better on the play clock, but then it kind of creeped back up a couple times. And then the challenges, yes, he he got a little gun shy. I don't remember that many challenges here at the end that we did the challenge on and managed the game situation. But no, you're right. He still has improvement to do, Mark, without a doubt. But I don't care what kind of little clothes he wears. If he keeps his tag on his sneakers, it doesn't matter to me. Just win me a damn playoff game. That's all I care about. That's what I want. And I think that's all we all want. We all want the Dolphins to win. That's where my bar is right now. Win a playoff game. Then once we get that, then I get greedy and then let's win the next playoff game. And if we weren't the number 1 seed, which is probably highly unlikely, let's win the next playoff game and let's get to the freaking Super Bowl. But you can't get to the Super Bowl without getting that first playoff win off your back, which we haven't had since December 30th, 2000. So, Mike McDaniel, he was a ball boy to start his career. His NFL career with the Broncos. Yeah, we do. That's where I agree that we definitely need someone that's just really good, and that sometimes is we got to remember it takes a little few seconds to get the replay. So it's like probably not totally instant and not probably seeing the replay right away. So they just have to have to watch it live and then still see it one more time before they're like, oh, maybe because we all miss something. Sometimes you're like, he got in. Oh no, he didn't get in. You know, so it just happens. Yes, I agree. I never liked and I was on record as it happened. I was not happy with the Chubb trade because at the same time, I think the Raycon Smith went for like a second and a fifth round pick or something like that. Raycon, I always screw up names, but you guys know who I'm talking about in the Ravens. So I didn't like it. I understood it because the Dolphins thought they were right there. They've loved themselves some edge rushers. So I understood it, didn't love it. And I thought if you really loved him, you could have waited because he was going to probably become a free agent. And then you could have go given him the bag of money and you don't even have to give up a draft pick. So to me, I didn't like it, but they thought they were in a win mode right that year, last 2022 season. So they went and pulled the trigger on that trade, but he was set to become a free agent that offseason. That's why we had to sign him to that contract right away, or you're going to give up a first round pick for a guy that's not on your team. In hindsight, they should have just let him become a free agent. Maybe he would have got more money elsewhere because the bidding war would have been more if he hit the free agency period. But oh well, say la vie. You would have had your first round pick. And you also had to know that the NFL was going to be taking one of your picks away when you started trading. You had to know because tanking and tampering allegations had already been out there. So I would have kept that first round pick at all costs. Not that he would have hit it right, but Oh, thank you guys. Thank you, man. 600 teammates strong. You guys rock. Thank you, Miss Finns, for pointing that out. I was going to bring that up. You guys all rock. You make it all possible. I love talking Miami Dolphins football. It's what I do. It's what I love to do when I have the spare time. And that's why I just worked with the schedule at this time slot. Not too many people because normally the great Miss Finns is off the air at this point, and I try to fill in that. I know there's others though, and you could be up there on some of the very popular shows going on right now, but you choose me, so I'm humbled by it. So thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Scotty. And like I say, you guys all know her. She's a legend in the Dolphin mornings, especially. And she even has some Wednesday. She has a Wednesday night show too now, guys. Check her out. Always putting out great content. Thank you, Steve. Oh my God, I went on a long time here. It's time to head out. Gee, man, don't worry about Chubb in 20 years late this season. His ring means he won't return. I know that's a problem, man. It's just, because a couple of the injuries. I know Scotty says that. Scotty says that Jalen Phillips should be back by September, but what level performance is he going to be by September? If he can come back September at the Jalen Phillips that we saw pre Achilles injury, bring it on. But I have a little bit worry about him coming back full strength too. So Scotty's a little more optimistic, saying September. So that would be nice. Hey, you never know, man. Vrabel may be on the market next year unless he gets the final job, that's out there. So because I don't think Vrabel will probably become a defensive coordinator this year. Thank you, G man. Anyway, with that said, if you guys haven't already joined the Dolphin Thirsty team, please tackle that subscribe button. And if you have, know that like button on your way out. Again, Chris Shula has going to be getting an interview with the Dolphins today. Granted, as Steve said, it may be just merely a publicity stunt, but I don't care. I needed a little positive Dolphin land news today. And to me, seeing the Shula name mentioned to the Dolphins gave me a little smile on the face. So I like it. And it's going to be interesting. I'm with the Anthony Weaver crowd or even the Staley style. I was hoping one of you guys would break news. Interviews done and whoever's been hired, but it didn't happen during this show. But hopefully in the next couple of days, because some of these jobs are starting to fill up. You don't want to be the music ends and you don't have the guy you want in your chair, So you got to make sure You go nab your guy before the guy you like gets nabbed by the couple remaining jobs out there in the market. So hopefully in the next day or two, we see. Maybe after today, if it really is just a PR move by the Dolphins to bring in Shula, maybe they close out that door. Thank you, Mike, again, Sterner. Thank you, big thumbs up to you. Thank you for finding us here again today. You rock. And with that guy said, I'm out. And make sure you check out Miss Finn's tomorrow morning. I'm sure she will bring her A game once again. So I'm out. I just got to find out my closeout video before I say I'm out, as I'm struggling to do that this morning. There we go. Later, guys. Fins up. You guys rock.